keep everything.
How did you conduct your business if the IRS took everything?
We had to do it out of a shoebox so we could keep going because we requested these things, and I'm told that the government's really not, once they do raid and so forth, they're supposed to at least let you, until you're charged with something, continue your business. This wasn't the case. They kept everything.
So you were never even charged?
Absolutely not. Charged with what? And when you speak IRS, the whole world shrivels up. The whole world gets fearful to a point where let's not talk about it. I testified in front of Congress. I would like to know why this dark entity known as the IRS has come into my life and refused to leave. I raised my children with a zero tolerance for dishonesty. And now they must hear allegations that I am a major drug dealer and a tax cheat. A lot of people out there being abused, and a lot of people saying, look, I'll pay it. Just go away. Just go away.
When all that happened, we had to file bankruptcy. We've had cars taken away from us, kept my daughter from going to college.
Do they ever think about the lives that they just destroyed? They think about the ruination of homes and property? No. In this case, we would have never thought this could happen to us. We've never done anything wrong. How can this happen in America when, in my case, personally, I thought that I was doing everything right? I've served my country. I've been to college. At least I've done something in my life. I got a speeding ticket one time. I paid my taxes for 40, 50 years, whatever it was. I've never been audited. What happened here?
I decided to drive back to Washington to see Dr. Ron Paul. He had been a congressman for over 20 years. I had met him previously in 1998 when I was running for governor of Nevada, and I knew him to be an honest and sincere man. And I thought he'd be very helpful in letting me know what the future holds for the American people.
Who owns the Federal Reserve?
It's secret, and we can't find out what's happening. But the Congress created it, and it's not authorized in the Constitution.
The government borrows money from a private corporation using the name Federal that prints United States on it, and then it pays back to the Fed, which is owned by private banks. We don't know who all those private banks are. The money that the government is paying back to the private bankers is the money that comes from you and me.
Why in the world would the American government borrow money and pay fees on it when it has the authority to make the money itself interest-free?
The Federal Reserve is no more federal than Federal Express. I've never seen a full list of ownership for the Fed. I don't think anybody has.
The government works for a private bank, and the private bank works for its owners, the true masters.
People talk to me about, the issue of Republican versus Democrat, as if they don't get it. And I say, look, here's the way you get it. It's organized crime. All you do is you call the Republicans the Genoveses, and you call the Democrats the Gambinos. The people at the top, they treat it like a crap game, like it's their crap game, like they're making lots of money. Occasionally somebody at the table shoots each other, but the moment anything threatens their crap game, they all unite to protect it. They're both controlled by the same financial, economic, and corporate interests.
Once the banks get into the picture and they form a partnership with the government gives them the legal power now to create bank-issued money backed by the coercive power of government to require everybody to accept that bank money.
In the course of the last century, they have converted this nation from a nation of independent freeholders to a nation of employees. And they're just one step away from being serfs.
Most people spend the great bulk of their money for taxes, interest, and inflation. And all of that money goes to these two groups that comprise the cartel and their partner, the federal government. It's not a coincidence.
So the Federal Reserve is actually an illegal entity functioning within government.
It's illegal, and what we have given to this so-called agency is the authority to counterfeit money.
Do you have any points of view about the Federal Reserve and how the Federal Reserve operates?
They just enter something on a computer. Oh, you need 20 billion today. Here's 20 billion, but they got that out of thin air. It came out of thin air, it goes to the Treasury then pays the bills.
So it's no different than monopoly money. The cost of living is so high today because the Federal Reserve and the federal government have destroyed the purchasing power of the dollar. The dollar today is actually worth about 4 cents. despite the fact that the government, the Federal Reserve, and the media keep telling us that they're protecting the value of the dollar. This is a lie.
All countries who have ever attempted to create money on thin air, the currency is eventually destroyed.
Why did we give a monopoly of creating money out of thin air to a private corporation? The result is exactly the same as if someone were picking your pocket every year, because that's exactly what they're doing.
Originally, paper was a receipt which is used as evidence that the money exists. Over the years, of course, the government has disconnected the paper from the actual tangible substance, which is money. So now we have a piece of paper which is evidence of nothing.
In the past, people were able to take their receipts, the paper, to the bank and get the real money, the gold, in exchange for the receipt. This limited the amount of money that could be printed, thereby protecting the purchasing power of your savings.
You don't have to worry.
That's good, because I work 3 jobs and I feel like I contribute.
You work 3 jobs?
3 jobs, yes.
Uniquely American, isn't it? I mean, that is fantastic.
In the absence of the gold standard, there is no way to protect savings from confiscation through inflation. There is no safe store of value. Gold stands as a protector of property rights. Alan Greenspan, before he went to work for the Federal Reserve System. Now Alan Greenspan and the other central bankers want you to believe that the receipt, the paper, is the real money. This is nothing more than sleight of hand. It's a magician's trick. Because for them to maintain control over the government and the people, they have to convince you that this paper is really money. Because that is the essence of their power and our powerlessness to maintain control over our own government.
Some federal lawmakers today outraged at a law firm's video teaching employers how to get around hiring Americans for jobs. Senator Chuck Grassley, Congressman Lamar Smith sending a letter to the Labor Secretary. They said that videotape showed disregard for American workers and is a blatant attempt to bring in cheap foreign labor through the H-1B visa program. The war on the middle class continues to escalate. Christine Romans reports.
This law firm posted its May immigration law seminar online, and its frank advice has spread like wildfire. Advice worker advocates say is proof the H-1B guest worker program displaces American workers.
And our goal is clearly not to find a qualified and interested U.S. worker.
That's the marketing director of Pittsburgh law firm Cohen & Grigsby, telling clients how to advertise for a job while making it look like there are no available qualified U.S. workers. The firm posted the entire seminar online. Then the Programmers Guild, an advocacy group, spliced together the most explosive sound bites and posted a 5-minute video on YouTube with music and subtitles.
So finally, what's going on behind the curtains is coming out into the public. We have proof now. It's not just allegations. We have proof.
Proof, he says, that companies don't work very hard to hire Americans first. In a statement, the law firm says, "We stand behind the substance of our recent immigration law update seminar. We regret the choice of words that was used during a small segment of the seminar." But the firm says its advice was, quote, commandeered and misused. Still, Senator Chuck Grassley and Congressman Lamar Smith are outraged. They sent a letter to the Labor Department saying the video underscores, quote, the blatant disregard for American workers and deliberate attempts to bring in cheaper foreign workers through the H-1B program.
If that need can be filled with American workers should be hired first.
The Department of Labor says it is reviewing the letter from Grassley and Smith. Quote, "We take the integrity of those programs very seriously, and we will review the facts to determine if there has been an abuse of the program." The law firm says it was giving advice to its business clients on how to comply with the law when hiring foreign workers. The program is meant, of course, to fill labor shortages with foreign workers only if no Americans are available. Apparently, Lou, there are some perfectly legal ways to get around that.
No, this is nothing, there's nothing here about the spirit of the law. There's nothing here about the responsibility of a good corporate citizen. There's nothing here about corporate social responsibility. This is a bunch of cute little lawyers playing little corporate games and screwing the American worker, which has become the general practice in this country, unfortunately. The Labor Secretary, I'm sure, was outraged and has insisted upon a complete and full investigation here because that Labor Department is so concerned about American workers, right?
A spokesman for the Labor Department said they are looking into it. They're going to see if there are any abuse, but they take it very seriously, the integrity of these programs.
I think we can attest to that, having looked at the number of abuses in these programs, which has not been curtailed over the past 5 years by this administration, if I may make that observation. Christine, thank you very much. Infuriating report. Infuriating that kind of thing is going on in this country and has been common practice.